The shot, and that one hit the iron. Duke was in front screening as McMenamin trying to get it past Power, but could not. Now Owen Power, one-timer coming, they score! An absolute rocket! Matty Benier smoked it in, and Michigan leads it 2-0.
And all season long, and all week long, all everybody has talked about in Michigan is red zone, red zone, red zone. Can Michigan put one in the red zone to come from behind and win the game?
We're going over there just to take over. So we're basically every game we just think of it as like a home game. So when we go over there, like we try to take their song, try to take anything they have, just to us, like their crowd is our crowd, and we just make it feel like home.
I think the one thing I think has changed for us this year is just using another opponent's crowd for us. I think we like that. I know I like it. The defensive coaches like it, and it's fun for us. It's not like a scary thing. We want to, be able to prove that we can get big wins in a row. So that's our mentality.
Good afternoon. This afternoon live, Dennis Fithian, Josh Henschke, as we're ready to get things underway. That was Taylor Upshaw. He wants to make Penn State pay tomorrow. Junior Colson. You had Brad Nessler from ABC from about 16 years ago. The video was going around, seemed very appropriate for this week. And the Michigan hockey team winning last night 5-1. That was on the Big Ten Network. Thanks to them. Good afternoon. Josh, we're less than 24 hours away from them kicking off there at Beaver Stadium, State College, Happy Valley in Pennsylvania. You got to be getting excited about this game. What kind of game are you expecting?
Well, hopefully a good one. For Michigan's case, it would definitely behoove them to get off to a fast start in away territory and obviously hold a lead if they have it at away confines. So, this game kind of really at this point kind of determines it all. Michigan's got to win this one in order to kind of keep their hopes alive for postseason play and obviously Big Ten title hopes. It starts tomorrow. They got to they got to win. They got to win this game. They have to. There's no other way around it. So, you'd be crazy to kind of expect nothing but, Michigan's best tomorrow. But, we've seen this team, we've seen this program, come out flat in years past, and especially at away setting. So, you get hopefully all the talk that they've been saying about, making, their away crowds their own holds true, and things continue on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, hopefully they can make Penn State pay in Maryland, and then it'd be great to get a payoff at the end of the season. Everyone, of course, just love a perfect season. We know that's out the window. Those are few and far between, but, the position that they're in is a pretty good one. Being able to go out there, and if they beat Penn State, they beat Maryland and set it up. They've been in position a couple times with Jim Harbaugh in the previous 6 years. 3 of those years, I think they're actually in position for the final game. And, that would be nice. That would be a nice spot, especially considering last year. I have a pretty good feeling about tomorrow's game. I'll give you some points, but do you have a good feeling about this matchup? When I know you look and start moving around all the chess pieces and thinking about how this matchup is, the more that I've thought about it, the more I like how this thing sets up for Michigan. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Michigan's getting Penn State at the right time. I think it'd be a little different story if they didn't have a couple of these losses on their plate, especially against Illinois. I didn't think they looked all that great against Maryland either. I think they should have beaten them by more. But like I said, I think they're getting them at the right time. And, I think this really depends on what kind of Sean Clifford they're going to get tomorrow. No one really knows, what's wrong with him and what percentage he's at. I think he told the media this week that he was at 100%, which, what else is he going to say at that point? But yeah, I think Michigan is getting Penn State at the right time. And you can't apologize for who's on the schedule. So, at the same time, it might be, best case scenario that they have been getting them at the same time or at the right time. So yeah, I mean, I feel good. I feel pretty good about it. I think, Michigan is hitting its stride. They just got to take care of the ball in the red zone. They just got to get it. They got to punch it in the red zone. And, I think, a couple of things go their way. I think, they'll walk out of there with a win.
Yeah, I know on the Penn State side, they can make a case that they're getting Michigan at the right time. Of course, they're getting them at home. And if you throw last year out the window and first year anomaly, maybe it's been back and forth wherever the game has been played. That team has really been the dominant team, and we know it's in State College. So I know Penn State feels good about that. And I'm sure they'd rather have the game at night, just like Michigan State would have rather had it at night with their crowd and that being a factor here. But I also think a lot of people are pointing to the injuries and Michigan being banged up. To me, and I don't know, I know guys are working through things. There might be some game time decisions in there, but almost at all of the positions, Michigan has somebody that is either can shoulder the load or that has stepped up. Whether it's the tight end like Schoonmaker, we've seen a litany of wide receivers have to step up since Ronnie Bell went out in the first game. The latest, Andrell Anthony, but, Roman Wilson was getting peppered late in the game, seeing if he could get back. He looked like he was the emerging wide receiver there. And Hassan Haskins, I think he's ready to take on. He was able to do it last week, but I think he could take on 25, 30 carries. And Josh, the thing that I like that people aren't talking about is Michigan got their offensive line intact back at full strength last week with the two guys inside. And that's a huge key for Michigan in this game. Yeah,
no, absolutely. There's a couple of injury situations to look out for pregame. I'm not very optimistic that you'll see Blake Corum tomorrow. Andrell Anthony is iffy too. So, like you said, there's fortunately Michigan has some guys that have game experience that they could put in there. I don't personally think it's a plug and play situation, but I think they'll be able to recover if Corum and if Anthony aren't able to go. And on the flip side, this is going to be an opportunity for a guy like Donovan Edwards, who, I feel pretty good about him coming back to action on Saturday too. So, this is a good opportunity for him to get some carries, to build some confidence, because really the last time anyone saw Donovan Edwards on the field was that fumble he had against Northwestern. So, it could be a chance for him to, get a couple of more carries. Obviously you want to kind of let, Hassan Haskins do his thing. Like you said, mentioned, 25 to 30 carries would probably be the sweet spot for him tomorrow. But yeah, having a healthy offensive line, the main core group of guys out there will be huge for them. I really think they'll want to establish the run, especially if Eric All and Andrell Anthony are iffy, or, whatever happens, if Corum can't go either. So, I mean, I think there's an opportunity for Michigan to run the ball. I know Penn State's a little banged up on the defensive line too, and they gave up 300 yards rushing to Illinois. So, there's an opportunity there for Michigan. So, if they really want to get back to their bread and butter, this might be the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know if it makes you feel better or anybody watching or listening, but I think a Washington Husky game plan might be in play here for Michigan. You look at the strength of the Penn State defense. It's no doubt. It's their secondary. You talked about it was 350 plus that Illinois gave up, and then I also looked just 2 weeks ago. Travion Henderson hit him for $150 plus as well. So Michigan wants to run it. They'll do it if given the opportunity. Their offensive line is at full strength, and Penn State is pretty good in the back end. So to me, that all adds up to Michigan, running a ground and pound game. And I don't know, people might not like that. And it's not like they're not going to get some play action in there and throw some passes, but that's just the way I feel. And on the flip side, Clifford, Penn State hasn't had a 100-yard rusher all year long. They want to throw the ball. That's all they're going to do. And Michigan, and I think Jymon Green, Jim Harbaugh said that, if you're one of the Green brothers, it sounds like, you get a broken leg and you'd be ready to go this week. So, Green and the rest of the corners have played pretty good here. And when you've got two defensive ends, that could be taken in the first 10 picks of the NFL draft, zeroing in on Sean Clifford here, that's the recipe for helping out a secondary and also being able to get after a passing attack. And that's what Penn State wants to do. That's another thing where I feel, pretty good about Michigan. It just sets up Michigan's strength, sets up to what Penn State wants to do, both on offense and defense. That's why I'm sitting here less than 24 hours talking about Michigan winning this game.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the weather is not exactly supposed to be favorable in Happy Valley tomorrow either. So that also kind of plays into Michigan's hand a little bit. That'll take away the deep ball for Clifford if it's windy and just gross outside. So if that's the case, and Penn State might have to rely on running the ball a little bit without passing the ball downfield, that also plays into Michigan's hands as well. So a lot of factors that, there's a lot of moving parts that still have to kind of move into place here, 24 hours up to the game. So it'll be really interesting to see how this one plays out. It's one of those situations where it's like, I can see a path for Michigan to win, and I can also see a path for Penn State to win. So, that's why it's a pick'em game. So, it's going to be a pretty fun game. Both of these teams need to win badly, so we'll see. It's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low scoring game, and you're talking about the odds maker. Michigan was favored by a point. Now they're getting a point, so that's about as even as it can be, and plus it's on the road. So yeah, it's not like you're sitting here saying, "Oh, Michigan's going to walk in there. It's going to be a cakewalk. They're going to blow Penn State out and make them pay and come back." I don't think it's going to be like that. And I know a lot of people, I think rightfully so, they're pointing to Michigan's pointing inside the 20 in the red zone. I thought Harbaugh made a decent point to Brad Galley early in the week when he said, of course we'd like to get touchdowns, but we do like moving the ball and getting some points. It's better than being, 3 and out or picking up a first down and having the punt. It's like, that's really bad. At least you're down there getting some points. I know people don't want to hear that. And the numbers bear it out. If Michigan would punch a couple more into the red zone and their touchdown efficiency was better, they'd probably be undefeated. We'd be talking about them being 2 or 3 in that in the stupid college football rankings right now, and possibly beating Ohio State. But some of the numbers here, Josh, I'll run them by you, and you just tell me. Football Outsiders ranks Michigan number 5 in overall offensive efficiency. They put a lot of different numbers in there. But Michigan also ranks 88th in the country in red zone touchdown percentage. So you got a pretty good offense, but you're not able to get it into the end zone. You're able to get that number, a little bit better where you get into the top 25 in touchdown red zone efficiency, and now you're cooking.
Yeah. There's one way to fix that number 88 ranking is put the ball in the end zone when you're in the red zone. That's the easy fix, right? But it's easier said than done. Number 5 actually kind of surprises me a little bit. Not necessarily that I think the Michigan's offense is bad. It's just I didn't think they were number 5 good in terms of efficiency. Obviously the running game, adds up to a good majority of that percentage, I'm sure. But look, Michigan can move the ball. They're capable of moving the ball. It's just, when they get into the red zone, things kind of just, when there's less space to operate, obviously we hear the Josh Gaddis speed and space type of deal. When there's less space to operate, there's less speed and just less movement to kind of spread guys out a little bit. So, things tighten up a little bit. Look, the only way this program is going to find themselves in the Big Ten championship game is if they're converting these 3-point opportunities to 7. You can't settle for field goals against Ohio State. Maybe you can if Ohio State comes out completely flat on offense, which that you'd be crazy to even suggest that. But if they have any postseason hopes at all, you gotta convert these attempts in the red zone, and you can't rely on the defense to do their job every single series, which, they've done their fair share of doing that. They've been, just short of excellent this year on defense, but you gotta, having a guy like Jake Moody, being near automatic is great, but you gotta convert more of these opportunities if you have any hopes to kind of extend your season, beyond what they what it is right now.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Michigan State game, I'd be sitting around talking about how much I love this defense and just how fantastic they've looked. But they actually did play that game against Michigan State, and in that, especially in the second half, 2 8-pointers in a row, getting caught a few times, and some personnel shifts and the big plays, and maybe just chalking up to Kenneth Walker III being just such a great back. I know people don't want to revisit that, but yeah, I think this, the defense looked like it sorted some things out last week, and they're talking about making people pay if they can get out. They're going to be a strength for the team. Then Michigan's going to have a pretty good chance here tomorrow. Is there something overriding that concerns you when it comes down to this game tomorrow? For me, I'm looking at Cade McNamara. I think he might be a little bit banged up. I don't know what he's dealing with, what he's working through. He had to work through something in the Michigan State game. When they brought J.J. McCarthy in the game in the second half last week, the announcer was talking about, there's McNamara limping off. And so I don't, sometimes it feels like maybe it's a necessity that he has to go off and they're putting McCarthy in. I would like to just go with Cade McNamara the entire game. You're in the stretch run here. McCarthy has gotten his experience. He's ready to go. And if needed, you can break that glass in case of an emergency. But I would rather just go with Cade McNamara. But I don't know if he's 100% healthy. That's what concerns me. What about you?
Yeah, I think, that is a big concern. At this point, I think he's probably just banged up. It's been a long year, and you get those bumps and bruises throughout the year, and I think he's just he's not 100%, but not to the point where he's unable to go. But yeah, I think my big concern is if Michigan can't get the running game going, do they have enough to kind of challenge the Penn State's defensive backs, who are pretty darn good? So that's kind of my concern. And does Michigan have the defensive backs to keep up with a guy like Jahan Dotson? I don't think Michigan has seen a receiver like him all year, and that's not discrediting the Jaden Reeds and the Nailers of Michigan State. They're pretty good in their own right, but I think Jahan Dotson is in a league of his own in terms of elite status. And then you can have more elite receivers a couple weeks later against Ohio State. So this is going to be a great test for the defensive backs. Can they keep up with an elite level receiver? And I think that's going to be my biggest concern, at least on the defensive side, is can they limit the pass, limit the big plays through the air. That'll be something I definitely look out for.
Yeah, Dotson can beat you by yourself. He can also do it in the return game. And you just made for a second, you started making my head spin because I started thinking of Olave, Garrett Wilson, Smith, Banchero, and I'm not ready to go there yet. So, but that's not your fault. I mean, you gotta say what you're thinking and everything, and not trying, just smooth everything out for me. I just get back. Michigan, they can run the ball and they can pressure the quarterback. It's two things they do really well. That's why I like him in this game. That's why I'm picking him 20-17.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 28, 24, 21 type of game. I think Michigan wins it a close one, but I think Michigan has the chops to take this one on the road, and fortunately for them, it's a noon kickoff. Happy Valley will still be crazy, but not as crazy as the night game atmosphere. So, I think Michigan, just considering everything that they have, I think they're set up to be able to match Penn State and beat them on the road.
Yeah, I also thought Michigan was going to beat Michigan State 30-25. So, I mean, there you are. But, what am I supposed to say? I do like the matchups. I do feel pretty good about it. I'm trying to be honest and everything. But I do think they're going to win. But I think it's going to be a close one. And I'll go back to them running the ball and being able to pressure the quarterback. All right, Josh, we had basketball opening up. It's not just football anymore. It's basketball season as well. And if the Wolverine Den on the message boards are, if any indication, people are as excited about basketball as they are about football, especially with the opener on Wednesday night. A couple days after, what was your takeaway about Michigan opening up on Wednesday night against Buffalo with a W?
Yeah, I think coming into this, Buffalo was a tough schedule to begin with. I mean, that's that's pretty brave for a season opener to tip off against a top 100 program in on the KenPom rankings. But that game probably went about as I expected. They got off to the fast start. They got off to that 20-something point lead, and then their youth kind of showed up a little bit there to let Buffalo back in the game. I mean, you're talking about a team with Buffalo that had like 6 seniors on it, and that's going to be a tournament team. That program looks like it's set up to take the MAC running away this year. So, I mean, it was a good game for the returning guys who kind of leveled things out a little bit. The Hunter Dickinsons, who had a quiet 27 points or something like that. I thought it was fairly quiet. To see Terrence Williams come off the bench and give the team a spark like he's done a couple times last year. I think that's probably the most well-rounded game he's had in his career, which is really encouraging. But I mean, I think my biggest takeaway is that the 2 freshmen in Caleb Houston and Musa Diabate really came as advertised. Everyone was talking about how good Diabate was on the defensive end. How good of an outside shot that Caleb Houston has. I mean, he missed a couple, and that's to be expected, but he hit some big shots. He was in foul trouble, so I kind of write that off as a wash. That even the same with Devontae Jones as well. He had a little bit of foul trouble as well, and you can really do what he wanted to out there. But you saw flashes, and I think that's the most important part. You saw flashes, and this one against Prairie View A&M coming up tomorrow, should be a little bit easier compared to what they had on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to get out to a 21-point lead, but Musa Diabate, every time he's just he's excitement, bottled up right now. Every time he gets the ball, you're thinking, okay, nothing's going to surprise you now. He can dunk, he can pass, he can run, he can block shots, and you forget because Caleb Houston was the number 8 overall ranked player in the Rivals 150 as a 5-star, but Diabate was 25 and he was a 5-star. It's not like he was some chopped liver or something. If it wasn't for Houston, everybody would be going like, Diabate's a super, like this guy's great. And he was, and it's nice to have both of those guys in there. I put a 3 stars out after the game, and I gave Dickinson the number 1 star, I think, when they really needed it. And, it got down to a 5-point game, and Terrence Williams ended up hitting the big shot there. But I think that, they rode Hunter, which they'll do all year long, and they should. He got the number 1 star. And then Terrence Williams, got the 2 star. And I gave Musa Diabate the 3 star in that opener right there. But, every game, it's fun to see them out there. So many newcomers, and you get the transfer. And, they're some of those teams in front of them, the top 25, for what it's worth, like, they could get knocked off over the next couple of days. We could be talking about this team being in the top 5, top 4, heading into next week. So you get a top 4 team, that's where you want to be at the end, in that Final Four. So it's I think it's extended from last year, the excitement and the anticipation of every game for Juwan Howard's team. He's got the strings he's pulling, and man, he just has this thing. It's so hard to do, get everything going in the right spot, and have the coaching staff and everything. And he seemingly has it all there, right there where he wants it, which is just a wonderful thing to sit back and watch.
Yeah, I mean, it started coming together probably like halfway through year 1, but year 2, I mean, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. It's also impressive that he's able to keep his staff intact too. Those are 3 head coaches on that staff. I mean, Sadi Washington, obviously, Howard Isley's the next one up. And obviously we all know about Phil Martelli's pedigree. Great
hairstyle, Coach Martelli. We like that. He looks good. He's the best looking out of all of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just an impressive group. That all have their specific strengths in terms of coaching. And I think it's really come together to gel and make, a really strong culture in Ann Arbor, one that really hasn't missed a beat from John Beeline, and in my opinion has only been strengthened, which I didn't think was possible, but here we are. But yeah, I mean, that'll only bode well for future recruiting classes. And yeah, I'm really interested to see how he kind of follows up a Big Ten championship year, how he can kind of either defend the title or, move on to bigger and better things in the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I mean, it's really impressive how, he's got this thing humming right now. Hasn't really missed a beat yet. We'll see what happens when, Big Ten season rolls around, but really, really hard to not walk away impressed from what you saw Wednesday night against Buffalo.
Yeah, coming up next week, a late night affair against Seton Hall, and then it's out to Vegas to play in that little mini tournament. If they beat Vegas, maybe it was at Arizona, Wichita State.
Yeah,
see it, and that looks like on a that could also be a late game. So some real late night Wolverine hardwood action. Up there. You mentioned recruiting. Let's take a turn here to the Michigan recruiting spotlight. I was talking to the recruiting editor of TMBR yesterday. It's Brandon Justice, and he's out, and he's going to be watching some games this weekend. And he's mentioned a couple times, and I've just worked with him. I've just done 2 shows there with him, but he's mentioned this linebacker out of Chicago, Marist, who's a 4-star, and his name's Jimmy Rolder. And and that guy, he is the fastest rising player in the Midwest. He might be the fastest rising player in the country. And he had an unofficial to Michigan. He likes the business school, but what I found was surprising, Josh, this is a guy that has just been unearthed here in the last month. October 8th, he had one offer, and that was to Ball State. Now, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio State, LSU, Wisconsin. You kind of name it after that with some of the group of 5 or Power 5 schools after that going after him as well. That's enough right there, and Michigan seems to be in a great position to get this guy, and we've got about a month to go. It's, December 14th. When it's the early signing period in Michigan. I saw in the team rankings, they fell to 19. They were as high as 17. They lost a 4-star. Now they're 19. With a month to go here, how close do you think they could get to 10, or where they're at? They're closer to 20 to 10. How do you think they end up landing?
Yeah, I think it really depends on these last minute additions here. I mean, obviously you've got until February to add on to the class outside of the early signing period. So it's not all, dead in the water once December 14th comes and goes. But I mean, they definitely have a chance to add a couple of pieces to the class. It all depends on, the numbers and who they get. I mean, obviously adding a 4-star and Jimmy Rolder would boost those, boost that ranking here a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, they end up near the 15 range, depending on who they get. And not to mention, obviously, the fact that, Michigan is still in play for Damani Jackson. If that flip were to happen, that'll make a major shockwave through the top 15 there for Michigan. So yeah, there's a chance to get to top 10. I don't know if they will. I don't think they will. I think probably, just outside of the top 10 sounds about right. Maybe, like I said, maybe closer to the 12-15 range, I think would probably be with it where they end up. But, I've seen crazier things happen. I mean, like I said, there's time for flips, time for late additions. So, we'll see how this all plays out.
Well, to that point, 2 teams that are in front of him in the Big Ten, both of their coaches might be gone. James Franklin might go to LSU. He's got a top 4 class. He could head to USC. That would be flip time central. I would imagine that all of Michigan staff would be in Pennsylvania then. And Mel Tucker may stay put, but he also might bolt. If that's the case, you could also, poach some of those players there. And so just the coaching carousel with this month, I think Michigan, it's got to be on standby and ready, to get ready to flip. And that's why you want to join up to the Maize and Blue Review, because, we're looking at the flips before they happen, or as they're flipping. It's the place to be, to watch it and talk about it in motion. So we look forward to you, becoming a part of TMBR. It's only it's not even 2 weeks in here. It's a lot of fun, and it's been going, man. And
yes, it has.
Keep going right to the end of the year, man.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a fun 2 weeks. It doesn't feel like 2 weeks. It feels a lot longer than that, but I mean that in the best way possible. It's been really fun. I've been super appreciative for everyone's efforts. including you, Dennis. You've done a great job, fantastic job for us, and truly appreciate everything you bring to our site and bringing our staff together for these broadcasts. Super appreciative.
Well, we're hoping, like Jim Harbaugh says, that this is going to be an ascending broadcast. And
yeah.
I've got a couple quick hitters. I do have the memorabilia minute, and I dug this press pass up from 1990 96. So we're talking about a 20th century press pass. So that's been around. One time, I'm going to put everything together. I saw somebody in the media he saved most of his press passes, and then he put them in this rectangular frame. It looked really good. If I ever get down to it, that would be awesome to be able to do. But I still have these things laying around there, and it said Penn State on it, so I want to use it. All right, the two quick hitters came from me going to TMBR TV and just listening to some of the audio and watching it from some of the Michigan players, and I'm going to throw both of the questions at you. One, you might not know. The other one, we'll find out because it's not really sports related. It was Junior Colson who was talking about his relationship with Mike McDonald, and it really started even from mentor student. It's not like these guys are more than it's not like they're friends, and he mentioned reading books, and then of course the question followed, what were the books? And it was Harry Potter. Colson and McDonald said that they shared an interest in Potter books. I like reading. I've never read a Harry Potter book, but I know my daughter's got like 10 or 15 of those books downstairs. Have you ever cracked open a Harry Potter book?
I have. I have all 7 books. I have all of them.
Oh.
Read them all multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yeah, was a big Harry Potter fan when I was younger.
All right. I liked when Lindsay Lohan went on Saturday Night Live and she wore the gray. It was a long time ago. She wore like a gray sweater, and it was great. It was funny, and it's one of the classics there. That's about my limit. And that my nephew dressed up like maybe he was Harry Potter with the round glasses. Is that Harry Potter? Maybe. Yep. All right. The other thing, it's back to football, and it's X's and O's, and something that slipped by me. Dax Hill was asked about playing a different role or playing a different spot as a safety, and that's something I didn't see against Indiana. Were they lining him up on the slot as a corner? Do you know exactly what they were trying to do, moving him around there?
Yeah, I think Steven would probably be the guy to ask about this, but I think he's done a lot of different things for the defensive back group this year. He's been in the slot, he's played corner, he's played safety, he's played, free safety. So he's done a lot of different things, and that's due to the fact that, Mike McDonald does a lot of different things with his defensive scheme. So, he's had a lot of different roles this year. I think he's had a great year. So, so like I said, Steven's probably the guy to get down to the more nitty gritty stuff in terms of how he lines up. But I know for a fact that he's, lined up in the slot and has done multiple different roles.
I want you to talk about your day tomorrow. For me, I'm going to watch the game at noon, and I'm going to be on 10 minutes after the game. I will be on TMBR TV. Jim Scarcelli, the former Wolverine linebacker, longtime high school coach, was I found out yesterday at Michigan football camps for 2 decades, talking about with all the different coaches. He's a wealth of information. He'll be on tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, you mentioned that basketball game. I forgot that Prairie View was A&M at the end. It's a long name, Prairie View A&M. I just called them Prairie View. But I'll be on 10 minutes after that game. So it's going to be a fun day, a little bit of Michigan football early, a little Michigan basketball late. Hopefully in between that is a lot of joy and recap and a great win out there in Happy Valley. What do you have planned for tomorrow?
Yeah, basically the same as you, just hanging out in front of the TV, watching Michigan Penn State, and then doing some write-ups after that. And then a couple hours later, getting back down on the TV and watching some Michigan basketball and doing some write-ups after that. So
oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm just saying a lot of sports, just how I like it on my Saturdays.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I've enjoyed that I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy as much as I have. I've mentioned, the rival site and the Maize and Blue Review, TMBR, the posting board, the message boards. It's called the Wolverine Den, and you go in there. The thing that I have enjoyed, like during the basketball game, you go on there and there's a thread about the game, and I just get in there, and every time I see something, I'm and people are just as the game is going on, they're talking about the game, and that's a lot of fun. I like that. I do that on Twitter, and sometimes I wonder, I didn't pay for any of my followers, but then I think, do I have 20,000 people that are looking at my messages and nobody's saying anything at all about Michigan basketball? I just can't get the response, but I sure can on the message board, because there's a lot of people that like just in Michigan basketball. So they're out there, but I've really enjoyed that. I'm guessing tomorrow you'll be involved there on those game threads, because I've seen you there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the fun thing about our community here at TMBR, is that, it's people, it's heavily surrounded about the people. It's everyone has a voice here, and you can, you're free to express your voice, and these game threads is good. There's a lot of different opinions flying at you every couple seconds as things happen during the game, and that's what makes it fun. It's a lot of varying opinions, a lot of different viewpoints. So it's kind of what makes our community unique, is that there's just a lot of different personalities in there, and it's what makes it fun. I enjoy talking football. We're all here for the same reasons. We're all here to watch Michigan and for on the business side of things, see them do well. For us, it's good for business. So I thoroughly enjoy doing that, and I'll be on doing the football live threads, and I'll be doing the basketball live threads as well. So should be a fun day tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw somebody freaking out. Final thing, freaking out about Devontae Jones, and I didn't like the who does, especially in a tight game, missing the front end of a 1-on-1. But I think it was Dickinson and Devontae Jones. Both of those guys are actually decent free throw shooters, but I didn't know how decent of a free throw shooter Devontae Jones. I looked, and I thought he was 80%. Like, if you'd have asked me before yesterday, but I saw somebody saying he can't shoot free throws. I don't like his style. Then I looked it up, and it was like, well, 1 year he shot 86%. The other, he's an 85% career free throw shooter.
Yeah,
Jones. Yeah. I think he's going to be okay there. He's only, he's 3 of 5, so he's a 60% free throw shooter here at Michigan. But I'm guessing, I don't know if he's going to be 80, plus, but I'm guessing that he's going to be upwards of 80%. When it's all said and done. So I'm not going to freak out too much after one game, even if he missed the front end of a 1-on-1.
No. I mean, he had foul trouble too, so that kind of hindered his game a little bit. And you're talking about the first game with a new group of guys in a new program, so there's going to take, obviously you've had all that time during camp and practices and stuff, but it's totally different when it comes to game atmosphere. So it's going to take a while to kind of for him to warm up a little bit and kind of, come into his own, so to speak. And, you saw flashes of it Saturday. I mean, he's got that long wingspan. He can disrupt passes on the defensive end. Elite passing vision. I mean, elite passing vision. That there was this one pass he had to Hunter Dickinson that wasn't quite ready for him, bounced off his knee out of bounds, but it was probably one of the prettiest and nicest passes I've seen any point guard make. So there's plenty of opportunities for him to do his own thing, to improve, improve his free throw shooting, his outside shooting. On my list of concerns, Devontae Jones is probably below the lowest one. I mean, I'm not even worried about him one bit.
Yeah, I'm a tough grader, and I give Michigan an A for their performance on Wednesday. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I can look for some things to complain about. Where's Zeb Jackson? I mean, when's he coming back? That's my biggest thing. But we'll see him. I'm guessing at some point. So we'll see you at some point as well. Friday so far, it's been great. It's been entertaining. I'm enjoying it here on TMBR. I can't wait for tomorrow. Everything I can do. I can't go out there. Nobody wants me to go out there and help them do anything. So it's on them, a business trip and everything else, but hoping for 2 W's tomorrow.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope so. It's huge.
That's it. That's all we can do. I got 20-17 when you're 28. What was it?
28-24.
28-24. I'll take either one. Either one. All right, Josh, continued success here. You're doing a great job as well. I'll give you an A. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it.